but it exists. We have multiple passports.
Straight.
Right?
Straight.
Especially if we have the passports, right? It
Yeah.
really makes sense.
Mhm.
Right.
Not
Peace,
just
Morris.
Peace.
Peace.
Let's just rise and give our honors. Get started. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe,
Allah, Father of the universe.
Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation.
and my salvation.
By night
By night
and by day,
and by day,
through his holy prophet,
His holy prophet,
Noble Drew Ali,
noble John,
Islam.
Islam.
Islam. So we're on our Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, Justice tour. Just getting the word out on Noble Drew Ali. We did Houston in January, February. We did Atlanta. We were supposed to do Virginia in March. Then that canceled because they said need 2 vax at the border. This is after I already went 2 times with nothing, right? And then April, here we are. And then May 11th, they're saying they're supposed to be lifting the vax, whatever. Because right now it only applies to U.S. Only U.S. is holding on still, that there's some stuff out
The
there,
whole planet. It's just them.
holding out. Just them holding out. Right? But that's colonization,
Yeah.
right?
Like a 3-month period, because I think they're releasing that in the summertime.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
They're lifting that.
Yeah. So still trying to keep this thing going on that there's something out there or whatever. So the Virginia one we did online, just to still do it, just to keep on with the tour dates or whatever, right? And then this one we have online as well. And then it's all to make sure that Noble Drew Ali's getting his recognition, because there's talk about what everybody could do and what somebody could do and what he could do and she could do and they could do something over there, and they started this thing to help the people with the whatever like that, and then everybody has all these brilliant ideas and nobody checked what Noble Drew Ali did in the 1920s and even saw how good it worked, and then even say, well, okay, let's apply some of that stuff. Let's apply some of that stuff now. But what we realize is the continual activities of colonial operations and the people not getting their just due. Right? These and then it's going into, first they used to say the government is whatever like that. And then now they're telling people that it's the corporations that's doing it to the people. And they're letting them know that it's the corpses that are running everything. Yeah, the corporations are what's running things. Right? Food and drug stuff and all that. That's not governments. You know what I mean? Those are businesses that are running the world. Businesses running the world. Globalization. Right? But we see that all of this is happening because of the best kept secret, and that's keeping the Aboriginals of North America deaf, dumb, and blind to true history and the reality of what's going on. Once the Negro, black, colored, whatever lives, then everything else is allowed to go too. Everything else is allowed to happen. If there's Negro, black, colored, then there's going to be police murders. If there's Negroes, black, colored, then there's going to be, no jobs for certain people. If there's Negro, black, colored, there's going to be GMO food because Negro black colored's fake. So then why wouldn't there be fake food? If Negro black colored gets a pass, then guys can say that they're girls and do whatever they want to do because the Negro black colored thing is given the pass. And they've moved from Negro black colored altogether now to BIPOC now. And then now they made a new fake identity
Or label or brand.
or brand,
To put on.
and then they're either everybody was something and then they made this thing around them, or they got all these people to go into.
Now, is that the government or the corporation that came up with the BIPOC?
Okay, well let's go check.
Because
So-
the more I reason with myself to find solutions, to speak to other people in the community to help re-educate, to me it comes down to the linguistics and the understanding of the language that we're speaking,
Mhm.
right? And a lot of people, they don't want to just sit back and unlearn something for a bit to relearn from another perspective.
Yeah.
Right? And even when I had to do that about 20 years ago, it was very difficult for me to listen to an elder and be like, everything I just learned the last 20 something years of my life, you want me to forget?
Yeah.
And he said, well, if you want to learn anything new, you have to have an open mind.
Yeah.
And it's literally letting people in our community know you're colorblind. The second they can identify what the difference between shades of brown
Mhm.
and black itself and understand art from English, because in different languages, certain colors are used with different words.
Yeah.
Right? So it's going to trigger and affect the mind different than in English.
Mhm.
Right? And like I learned something new today when I asked you what does BIPOC stand for, right? I didn't know that now. Indigenous people of melanin are still putting black in front of what they are.
But that's going back to what you were saying. It wasn't any of those people, black, indigenous people of color, so-called. It wasn't any of them that said they're BIPOC.
Yeah, so who's making these labels and names up for?
Yeah, the powers that have the people in the dumb state,
Okay.
because they can't just go out and murder people in the street. They can't do certain things because international communities always looking at North America.
Yeah.
North America is always in the view of international, to the point where look how many international people came to North America and now they're saying they're whatever American. They're not from here, but they're whatever American, and they have everything that, you know, people supposed to have. But then you look at our people, and we've been here, and we have nothing.
I think they come here for the American dream. And
Yeah.
that's whatever their dream of the American
Whatever that
dream
is, yeah, they can get it here. But it goes back to the same thing. They could only do that if there's Negro, black, colored people.
Yeah.
And it's like they keep creating organizations in order to do it.
Yeah.
Like just different agencies and different
Yeah.
groups, just to kind of subject us to that fiction.
It's a compound lie.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
it gets, it's like, as I'm understanding my life journey, it seems like it's getting worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because certain things I thought 20, 30 years ago, I wouldn't see in this day and age because of technology and new people here on the planet and a lot of old ways fading out. I was completely wrong.
Yeah.
You know? It's literally worse. It's like with all this access to
Information and
the majority
whatever
of
else.
people would rather just entertain themselves
Yeah.
than get educated.
But on that level too, the worst is only for those who are in that brand realm.
Yeah.
We're sort of in it because we're next to them, but we're not really in it like that. You know, I mean, if you took majority of the Moors and say, okay, well, you got to just stay over here, and more would probably be fine.
Yeah.
If that's what it is,
I agree with that.
oh, fine. If that means you don't bother me anymore, and I don't got to worry about you bothering me, and I can just do whatever and have no issues, show my whatever, and then have no issues, say whatever, and no issues with any people, okay, then that's what it is. I'll reap all the benefits of being a Moor if nobody else wants it. You know, I'll take it all if nobody else wants it.
It's our birthright.
But it's a birthright, so everybody should have it. Everybody should want it, and then if we realize that they don't want it, then there has to be something going on
But a lot
to
of
make them not want it.
don't know the difference between their rights and their privileges.
Mhm.
Because a lot of them are taught by their parents that they're this, that, and the third, and they have privileges.
Yeah.
The parents didn't even address that you have a birthright.
Yeah.
I was just told I'm lucky I was born here
Yeah,
in the most privileged country of them all.
right.
And that was the doctrine I was taught up until I said, let me think for myself for a second here, because as privileged as I am, I'm still suffering in my own shape, form, and
Yeah,
fashion
yeah.
from what I was taught by the male and female parent.
Yeah.
Right? Because times change with the new generations
Right.
that come. But again, it's allowing them to know, allowing us to know, or even our offspring, that you have actual rights.
Yeah.
Like just being born here in quote unquote North America.
Mhm.
Right?
And going back again with, it's only North America where this thing is happening, where you have these people called by different stuff. That doesn't happen anywhere else.
On the planet.
You're not going anywhere else on the planet, and there's some people who identify as a color, and they're in the street and they're marching and they want to be recognized as, you're not seeing that anywhere else but North America. Only here has this issue, right? Misidentification, denationalization, whatever you address it as. A number of people on the planet, specifically in North America, keep having their name change every 20 years or something like that. There's a new name for them. Only these people, that's it? Nobody else going through this stuff?
To suit their narrative.
Just to suit, but the narrative is not created by them. Or they would say who it is that they were, just like everybody else, and go back to your nationality. And now let's talk about some things after we get ourselves an identity, actual identity that's real legit or whatever like that, not some made up stuff. Somebody heard something and now it becomes the thing. Because BIPOC came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like that came out of nowhere. Oh yeah, these people are BIPOC now, Black Indigenous People of Color. They don't even say black and stuff like that out here like that. Everybody's under that thing now. Right? So this is what they're saying.
the umbrella.
Yeah, the umbrella. This is what they're saying. This is CBS News, June 2nd, 2020. BIPOC, what it means and where does it come from? The language used to describe racial minorities has fueled controversy in the United States for centuries. People of color is widely used as an umbrella term for all people of color, but now a different acronym is suddenly gaining traction on the internet. BIPOC, which stands for Black Indigenous People of Color.
So they couldn't just say IPOC, Indigenous People of Color.
Yeah,
They
because
still have to throw the black in front.
they have to put the black in there. Because if they don't put the black in,
It's not the brand.
then they can't play their game.
And it's a game, right? A game of commerce in North America.
Just like you said, POC, people of color, is widely used as an umbrella term for all people of color.
And that can be Middle Eastern, Asian.
It's people of color, right? So once they accept the brand, now colonization and all these things could happen
Jurisdiction.
because their jurisdiction is a fake jurisdiction. So then the fake entities are going to use the fake jurisdiction to have their way.
It's like a child's game that they're playing at an adult level.
Mhm.
And because a lot of people don't want to grow out of their childish ways and learn to think independently or critically, it's like such a trap.
That's why the language used to describe racial minorities, because they're children, so they're minorities, they're a small number of people. Minority, you're a minor. Mentally, you're a minority. Oh yeah, well, how are we the minority if we're 98% of the population? How are we the minority?
Using 2% of the brain.
Like how? Doesn't even make sense, right? But if you look at it from the perspective of law, now it makes it totally different. So when we look at color in law, right? So they said people of color is who they say that they are, right? Color, an appearance, semblance, or simulacrum as distinguished from that which is real, a prima facie or apparent right, hence a deceptive appearance, a plausible assumed exterior, concealing a lack of reality, a disguise or pretext. And then at the end of color, it says, the word also means the dark color of the skin showing the presence of Negro blood, and hence it is equivalent to African descent or parentage. So the meaning of color is an appearance. The meaning of color is distinguished from that which is real. So if individuals say that they're people of color, or let someone call them people of color or colored people or whatever, then they're people who aren't real if they're colored. And if they're not real people, then I don't care how much times you shoot into the closet, you're not hitting the boogeyman in there. You're just wasting ammo. There's nothing there. If they say that they're colored people, police didn't kill anybody because they're a semblance. They're fake. They're not real.
A figment of the imagination.
And now they're putting all these things together in order to keep the color going, because once the color is going, then they have jurisdiction, which is the point of getting Noble Drew Ali out the way and all that, because he already told you that you're not the brand names. Say you're not Negro, black, colored. So all 2023, we're black, indigenous people of color. And he's and all you gotta do is take out indigenous, put Negro there. And they're saying all the same stuff that Drew Ali was telling these people that they're not since the 20s.
100 years.
100 years ago. 100 years, this stuff's still around? Where's the Asian BIPOC? Because Asia, they got nationality. Sri Lankan, Hindustani, Iranians, whatever. They're not saying they're a nationality. Everybody's saying that they're a nationality. They don't have a color thing over there anywhere else. Only where we're at. People are using the term to acknowledge that all people of color face equal levels of injustice because they're people of color.
There is no justice.
There's no justice for people of color, so you get injustice. That's just what it is. And they're telling them in the article. Telling them, all people of color face equal levels of injustice. Obviously. Because all levels of injustice happen to all people of color.
They're all in the same team.
And the only people of color are these people in North America above Mexico who don't know themselves, and they're everything, they're every color of the rainbow. But they're not themselves.
Fair game.
According to Google Trends, the use of the term began to spike in May 2020, coinciding with growing Black Lives Matter movement in the wake of the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. Founders of the BIPOC Project used the term to highlight the unique relationship to whiteness that Indigenous and Black people have, which shapes the experiences of and relationship to white supremacy for all people of color within a U.S. context. So they're just fed up with the brand names. So we're going to make a new brand name. And then the people aren't realizing that once they put color in there, it's void as an identity. And then if it's void of identity, then those individuals are void of rights. And now anything could happen to you. And then you're going to hear them say in, between now and the next 10 years, how much finance they gave to the BIPOC, to whatever like that. And then they found the mass graves of the indigenous, and then they're going to say some more proclamations, we're sorry for stealing your land. We're not going to give it back, but we're sorry for stealing your land. That's all it is. Right? That's all it is. Them running the show. Them running the show, and our people going with it. Many of our communities have a common foundation of civil rights challenges. While we do have strength in our individual identities as Native people, as Black people, we also have within our communities a unity of our citizenry. Some of our citizens face challenges both as an Indigenous person and as a Black person, and that intersection of challenges presents a unique position. So we'll just go to this pamphlet from Morris Heritage and History School, when they used to have these classes at the National Theater. This is some of the handouts that you would get, and then as you order from the site, they would give you, little pamphlets and stuff. So this is one of the pamphlets from a presentation of etymologists Abdullah El Talib Mozi Bey and Kemetu Bey. You are not Negro, Black, colored, or Ethiopian. The Moors in America are a group of people who have in the recent past accepted a name tag or label change every 20 to 30 years. This is a clear indication of a people who unequivocally, non-argumentably, no contest, hands down, do not know their identity. Thus, they do not honor their mothers and fathers by name and principle. A people who do not know that the human family is not identified by crayon colors, continents, and hairdos. Though this is in a great part a planned usurpation, the rest falls on a fallen humanity. Yet, when we know better, we do better. As prophesied by Noble Jew Ali, in this electrifying age of information is a timeless application of the rise of the mothers and fathers of civilization. As Joshua said, I hold my hand out all day long to a hard-hearted and rebellious people who are not called by my name. When they repent from their sinful ways, I will hear from heaven and heal their land. The land is entrusted to us. It is the inheritance and the title to the land. It is the name or nomen. Al, El, Bey, De, and Ali are titles. People are identified by pedigree and hereditaments, received at birth, unencumbered by any statutes, ordinances, and policies. A natural person protects their inheritance and their personalities from invasion of any other entity, foreign or otherwise citizens, naturalized, subject, or alien. For their abuse of the land and the resources is what for their abuse of land and resources. This is what nationalization does. Nationalization can only be done by nationals, the Aboriginal and Indigenous people of the land. Pedigree. From a 3-line mark used to indicate descent. A table presenting a line of ancestors, genealogical tree, an ancestral line, lineage, derivation, and development as words with the same pedigree, distinguished ancestry, also recorded, known, or notable descent. Hereditament, law, any property that may be inherited. Hereditary, heirship, inheritance, heirs, descended or capable of descending from an ancestor to an heir at law, having title or possession through inheritance, transmitted or transmittable as a constitutional quality or condition from a parent or to offspring, of or pertaining to inheritance or heredity. The etymologists will go over number 9. Oh, yeah, forget that part. Right, so when they start doing the brand names, we take ourselves out of being in that position of inheritor, right? Because the brand can't own property, brand can't have property. When you go back again to colored, in the definition of colored, it says, it has also been held that there is no legal technical signification to the phrase colored person, which the courts are bound judicially to know. There is no legal technical signification to the phrase colored person. So if they keep calling people colored when there's no technical signification to that term, then now you have to start looking at the people who have the problem now.
Because they don't mean anything.
The people don't know who they are. So they don't care what they're labeled. Doesn't matter to them what they're labeled. But they don't know who they are. They don't care who their ancestors were. Which is why, you know, when we look at the Moorish paradigm, this is a journey for select few. Because everybody isn't ready for this. They thought they were ready for something.
But it's a lot to really wrap your mind around. When
Isn't that supposed to be the inspiration to keep?
I agree.
Right.
But I'm thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
The everyday person, right, in my community, that since I claim my nationality and let everybody know, stop calling me this and that and the third, you know, if you're gonna speak to me in English, speak to me like this, because I know who I am. So it's tricky.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like you said, how a lot of people are fighting now for their privileges more than their actual rights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would rather tell a guy, or a guy would rather be addressed as a different label name, say like I'm a sheep.
Yeah.
Right. And people are gonna support that. And they're not even worried about, how their country's treating them or how the nation's treating them, other nations are treating them by calling them a color.
Right. We're also gonna put a reference point. This is a divine warning by the prophet for the nations. This was written by Noble Drew Ali, again, 1920s, and the message that he's relaying in that, we're looking at what we reap for not following the message. The conditions of our people today, and you see stuff is messed up and stuff's getting worse and whatever like that. It's all because they violated this.
And they've been warned already.
Been warned already. And everybody got put on notice about the warning. And they neglected the warning. All right. The citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all of one family bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional government are classed as undesirables and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitution of laws of a free national government and cling to the names and principles that delude to slavery. So that's the sinning of our people, is them not identifying themselves properly. That's the sin of the people. The sin to them is, why are they deluding to names of slavery? Why aren't they claiming the free national name in the free national government, just like everybody else is doing around here? Right? I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and to go back to the state of mind of their forefathers' divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens. That's the same thing that you're talking about with the rights, right? Not receive privileges, receive rights. And then going back again, that this is supposed to be out the womb, we know this.
But what I've learned from my journey this far in my life is they make us as teenagers, preteens, and teenagers afraid to learn about the court system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So instead of getting that education at that age, a lot of the youth are losing their privileges, right?
Yeah.
Before they even get to exercise them.
Mm-hmm.
By the time 16 passes and they're not protected by certain things, they lose privileges that they had that they didn't even get to exercise as an honorable citizen.
Yeah.
Before even learning about what their nationality is,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm always thinking solutions first because I can clearly see what problems
Right.
are going on in society.
Yeah.
But being here today, I'm gonna have to keep one head on my shoulders and not think both ways, because sometimes I'm thinking all these solutions,
Yeah.
but it's like each individual has to be responsible for themselves
Right.
and learn the alphabet first.
Yeah.
And how to
Before we
read and
start
write,
talking about essays.
right? And then once they can learn to read and write, then they can open up their minds to
Yeah.
teach themselves how to unlearn things that they may have been misinformed.
Now, the quick note on that, there's a few Moors who them finding about this actually made them literate.
Okay.
that they actually learned, they actually, 30, 40 or something like that all their life, never don't even know ABCs or whatever like that. But then they got this info, they took serious, and then all of a sudden they're reading books and stuff like that, because now you're looking stuff up and you're using dictionaries and all this, and
The consciousness
Yeah,
expansion.
etymology, learning etymology.
learn the etymology of words or whatever. Like that's what they should have got.
And then
You know?
it's good to know that people can humble themselves.
Yeah.
And then restart.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's not easy.
but
Right?
that's what it takes.
And a lot of our elders, a lot of them didn't get formal educations like
Yeah.
we did inside of a system, yet alone
Mhm.
the ability to teach themselves or go to school half of the week. So
Right.
I think we're in a unique position to continue to help educate
Yeah.
the masses. What it does get difficult,
Mhm.
you know.
And then that's the inspirational thing with on our side, that all these sleep people out here, there must be one out here that wants to know something. We got, you know what I mean? And then we used to say, we count all the chairs or whatever like that, and then we say that, oh yeah, the ancestors are in those ones, and then whoever is here, this is who this stuff
You're exactly
is
right.
for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For this one individual that we know in 5 years, 10 years, or whatever like that, they're gonna be right in tune with where they're supposed to be, from an emotional perspective, for curing up their generational karma and all that stuff. Whatever, they'll figure this stuff out. 'Cause it's not like it can't be figured out. The problem is the majority of people don't have the discipline. And then the other ones, they can't humble themselves to the fact that, you know what I mean? Don't think you know something. You know jack. You know something. You know? It's too
We
vast.
have to apply the knowledge.
Yeah.
And every day we make choices that ultimately affect how we live. you
Yeah.
know.
And you have to, going back to the thing again, that, humble yourself to, I actually gotta check myself. These what is that? Yeah. I actually gotta check myself
On a daily basis.
on a daily, because it's really a journey. It's a journey that you're on. Right. But back to divine warning. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent for their sinful ways and go back to the state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine right as citizens, according to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings. They are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish Divine National Movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they may cast a free national ballot at the polls under the free national constitution of the state's government and not under a granted privilege, as has been the existing condition for many generations. So it's been an existing condition for many generations that our people go toward the privileges versus their divine rights that they get from the Creator. And they don't want that. They want some European over there to give them some rights. Under the guise that, well, they're the government and they're the authority and so we should get the stuff from them. Not really. Or they wouldn't be here. If they were here to give you stuff, they wouldn't be here. They would just give you the stuff and then go back to wherever. Right? But they're here ruling over, and then what the world is finding out that these people been doing fake stuff for so long. Now the world's against them. Now the world's like, oh, you know what? We actually don't want your debt notes.
What's left for them to colonize?
Right? Exactly. There's nothing left. Right. So which means that that's the prophecy fulfilling, that stuff is stuff. Babylon's falling down or whatever like that. And then everybody's looking around. Waiting for
They use the term
for something.
commonwealth, and I found that it's a commonwealth, that it's not what it seems to be.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've been to other commonwealth countries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the scales aren't balanced.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But again, it's you know, if once you're dealing with the Commonwealth, you're dealing with the colonization. So it's gonna be on the side, either it favors them, or you know, just like we were talking about when we were calling back in the day, you know, stuff. But you know, you figure out some hustles, and you know, now they have everything locked up now. That you know, they're the weed man now. Weed man's like,
The hustle's become
This-
a corporation.
yeah, everything's corporate.
And the people that used to hustle are not allowed to hustle.
Yeah. Unless they do illegal. You get legal hustle, you know, get dispensary, give us 50% or whatever like that, then yeah, sure. You know what I mean? And then you have to go through all the regulations of the
Once their
and
hands in your pocket, you can.
you're good. Once they could get their hand in your pocket,
That's all yours.
it's all yours. Do whatever you will. You know what I mean? Make 80 million. Our hands in your pocket. It's cool.
We're taking 1 mil of that.
You know what I mean? Like we're good with our little mill off your 18. We're good. We're good with that
For now.
for now. You know, right? And then that's going back again to receiving the divine rights unmolested by other citizens. That we're able to exercise the right, and somebody not, well, man, you can't do that or whatever. You know, you can't put all rights reserved. Like, what do you mean?
I'm reserving my rights.
Like, why can't I reserve my rights? Are you trying to imply something?
You have
Because if you're not
rights.
letting me reserve my rights, then obviously you don't respect rights and all that
A
stuff.
highwayman laughed at
Must be
me
a criminal.
and said, "Oh, you have rights." Ha ha ha. And I said, "Of course I do. Of course I have rights." You of course.
Laughed at
He
it.
laughed right in my face. And I just looked him right back in his
Yeah.
face, and I said, "Yes, I do.
Yes,
have
I do.
rights, and you're not going to infringe upon them today. Have a good day, sir." You know, and it's like, for me, a lot of it is the language. It all comes down to the language.
Yeah.
And how we're communicating with people.
Mhm.
Right? And
Straight.
once we're speaking and they realize you can control your language and your breath, you know, which is key to controlling your breath while speaking the language. That's what's helped me navigate through a lot of interesting situations. Where I'm like, I'm glad I learned how to speak.
Yeah.
Specifically
Yeah.
in certain type of ways.
Yeah.
Tones, you know, how to raise the tone or lower
Yeah,
the tone, and soft or hard, and you know, all these things are key.
Right.
Right? Exactly. Into dealing with other players on the board game. Because to me, it's all a game.
Yeah.
Right? And as we go through our lives from infancy to adulthood and older ages, it's like, what hat are you wearing and where are you wearing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's what we call sporting in all realms. You know, because you have to. It's not gonna be, you know, like you're saying, you going through certain things. You going through certain things, you know, which is a lesson for people with regard to this, that it's about your mindset. It's not about, you know, you got some papers with the right font or whatever like that, or you got some card and then the card has something on it that's gonna make them. And that it's about your mindset. It's about, have you been studying so that when the challenge pops up, you have a way to maneuver. Because the challenge is going to pop up once you start studying. It's just automatic. It's just that's just how it goes. The more you're studying, the more you're going to get tested to see.
And I believe those are rites of passage.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know, on that note too, is like, you know, meeting a lot of people from the Jewish community, all of them study no matter how much money they have in their pocket.
Yeah.
Whereas for people in our community, if they're coming from the, you know, this ghetto or suburban thing, more so we're taking what our grandparents were telling us. And usually it was just, you know, we're waiting for either Christ to come back or something like that.
Mhm.
But even when they're paying people to become NBA stars, they don't need to study anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they just stop. Now it's like, no, I already have the money. So now the youth are looking at them like, well, why do I got to go to school now? Like, they don't have to go to school. I can become this, that, and the third, you know? And then knowledge just goes. But again, you meet a lot of people from nations. They're always studying. They're always reading books and stuff like that. And we're the only ones.
Only ones. Not even interested. I was watching some freaking video earlier when a man, something that you could save on some NBA 2K game or whatever like that. This man's girl deleted off the thing. And this man smashed the freaking video game console to bits for some video game shit. About to end his relationship because she deleted some stuff on the freaking video game.
But this generation, they
Like,
take it serious. Like, I thought
crazy.
in the 90s when we were coming up, we took basketball
Yeah,
serious
yeah,
to a whole
yeah.
nother level, right? But again, like we said, it's a corporation.
Mhm.
So the corporation identified with what I would say our generation was dealing with, and then they capitalized on
Exactly.
it, right?
Exactly.
To a whole
Another level.
a level I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, the last 4 weeks, I made it a point to see one of my little friends I grew up with, and every Saturday, run a game with him, or two, just to see where my meds is at and his meds is at. But then when I'm actually in the interface in the game, and I'm like, I still have the original 2K disc from Dreamcast, and now I'm looking at 2K23, where, like you said, someone lost their mind the other day, broke their own setup, their entertainment setup over whatever, but it's just the programming is what I'm getting down to, where it's like a lot of us didn't have any other opportunity but to play sports or do some other things. A few of us decided, no, we're going to study in high school and not get the scholarship and try to go to university or college off of the brain power, right? But again, it all comes back to the corporation. Right? Everyone has their own agenda. And it's finance in North America. That's what I always think it comes down to.
Right.
Is the money.
Yeah. Any comments or questions? Any questions?
No.
All right. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption of my people, go to those that know law in the city hall and among the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that make a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone. And without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a free national government and the enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from all true American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from the constitutional laws of government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional fold again, that they would learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national Constitution of the United States of America. I love my people, and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. Black, indigenous, people of color claiming names that are unconstitutional. And then when they claim these names that are unconstitutional and they're getting violated day by day, keep getting violated. Get violated over and over again. Peace, more is love.
And they cry about it,
And
right? Like,
but they're crying about it because that's all they know. All they know is victimization. All they've been dumbed down with is you're black, you're a slave, you're black, there's a plantation, you pick cotton. And
they never think to ask themselves, well, what was I before?
what were you before that? What were you before that? That's where we're starting at? We're starting at cotton picking. That's who our people were. And not even going back to actually check, which again goes back to the thing of, when you're in this state, this Negro black colored state, that they're transitioning into BIPOC state now.
Just a whole new
Right.
spell.
It's just a whole new spell that's probably deeper than the Negro black colored spell. You'll probably be better off with that than where they're going with it.
The thing that gets me too is most recently too is the whole Cleopatra thing.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody's just focusing on what color, what complexion she is. And then you have people from Egypt now that are suing Netflix now because they're trying to say,
Yeah.
she's Egyptian.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the comments saying, no, but she's from Africa, so she must be black.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, they're saying she's Egyptian, right? And that has nothing to do with her color.
They won't say she's from Kemet.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, Egypt is contemporary.
Yeah. And then they're not going to be debating that. They we talking about some skin color stuff when they should be talking about why you saying Egypt.
The word power sound, right?
You know?
Playing with words,
Yeah.
putting spells on people, and just teaching the new offspring these things, though. And it's cycles, it keeps happening.
But because it ultimately it starts at the house.
Yes.
Whatever could be happening outside, they could be more thing over there, whatever. But if they go home and there's Negro black color stuff going on, then that's all they know. If they go home and European Jesus on the wall, or they go to grandma's and European Jesus on the wall or something, and they're not getting anything at all at home, to say, hey, that's some BS or whatever like that, and this is where you're supposed to be going with this, then
It does.
the struggle continues, right? Because ultimately, it's just like when they say when you look at the other nations not getting molested, but they're going to the school. The school is a brainwash camp and all that stuff. How come these people not brainwashed?
Because they do their own thing before they send their children.
How come they're not brainwashed?
to go to work.
Right? Yeah. How come education board or whatever like that isn't affecting them? They're getting hundreds or whatever like that, and everything's cool. No issues. Calls home every whatever because so and so is missing class or late. None of that. It's the same system that they're in, same brainwash system. Our people come to just like talk about crying about the school system and respecting the black whatever. All right. Well, guess what? The Chinese, they ain't complaining. And if all these other demographics aren't complaining and only these one people are complaining, obviously these people have a problem.
It's like every other nationality, they'll come and take advantage.
Yeah.
of the
Super
system
advantage.
that's in
Like
place.
super advantage.
Yeah.
They're taking every advantage that they could get.
They're not leaving anything on the table.
Nothing. Nothing's left on the table. Nothing's left. Like nothing. All you have is our people being the victims, and then everybody around them is prosperous. Then our people can't figure out that they're prosperous because they're dealing with the rights, they're dealing with principles, they're dealing with one creator, they're dealing with, they have a language. There's certain things that, they're not going to do as a people. Certain things they're not going to do. Certain places they're just not gonna go because they know better. Nothing personal against, you know what I mean, whoever, they're not supporting their thing, but I don't see, you know, I don't see a Ashkenazi go to Chinese spot to go eat. I don't see them go there. You know what I mean? Do they hate them or whatever? Nah, they probably have their own restaurant they're gonna go to. Why are they going to these people's restaurant for? You know?
Not even by chance.
Yeah, like, you know.
Again, but like you said, discipline, right?
There's things that just don't do.
Yeah. Right. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced on all other American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issues and names formed by their forefathers. So if they place their trust in issues and names formed by their forefathers, then the people who call themselves black,
Have no force.
Have no
the
faith
people who
in
call
it.
themselves black, then
Trust.
they're gonna be a ward, because they're not talking about the names of their forefathers. That
Issues
turn with no
and stuff,
shell,
which
in the state.
pertains to treaties,
right?
you know what I'm saying?
Agreements, constitutions,
All of that stuff.
that these things happening with different cultures meeting each other, you know what I mean? They're coming together to exchange cultures. It's not the war thing or whatever like that. Oh, you guys got some whatever, we got some, just like we're talking about. You got some of it, oh yeah, well, give me some of that, give me some of this, and then we should be good. What are you arguing about?
Trade.
If we could just trade.
But
Commercial mentality.
Right?
but here's the
They don't have,
some people aren't people.
Yeah.
So how can you trade with them?
Right.
If they're property.
Yeah.
You can't trade with
You can't trade with property.
the thing is that they're thinking that their situation right now is unique. It hasn't been done. The ancestors never had adversity like that and ironed it out and resolved it with the perpetrators or whatever. So they have no faith in issues that our ancestors already ironed out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're trying to go a new way.
Yeah.
Everything's been set up.
When it's already set that this is how the arrangement is supposed to go.
just move forward.
Right. The word Negro alludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word color alludes to anything that is painted, stained, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon this earth. And then the only people that they talk about are, oh, the young are dying, you know, so how come the young are dying so young and whatever like that? Because we don't honor our foremothers and forefathers. So our days are short on the earth plane. And all of them have the Bible at home that they open on the page and all that stuff, and then they're not even following their own stuff. When they have the stuff open right there.
They choose not to read.
They go to church every Sunday, 8 to 8 and all that. And then lessons skipping over them. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizen of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at that time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at that time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendments for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lay down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments in the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people of this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people. And this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. Peace, well, was good. All right. This great sin must be removed from the land. This great sin of calling yourself some fiction that you're not. Calling yourself something that you're not. The more you call yourself something that you're not, the more earthquakes, diseases, etc. This is the options that are there. Live by the principles, peace will reign on earth. Don't earthquakes, diseases, etc. So which is the obvious choice, right? And I, the prophet, do hereby believe that this administration of the government, being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such classes of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers and learn to stop serving carnal customs and merely ideas of man, and have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, am hereby calling aloud with a divine plea to all true American citizens to help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and is being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way. And without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin. And there is no nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc. In their present condition of their endeavorment, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. Our people playing these games is what has everybody else suffering too. Our people being in the position that they're in is why the world is in turmoil. And more so because our people should be doing the things necessary to correct and change, opposed to realizing that there's a booger on your nose and then you just leave it there. Please work, right? because our people will not refrain from their sinful ways, because they will not refrain from their sinful ways, their deeds have brought Jim Crowism, segregation, and everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. This is 1920s. Remember that Drew Ali saying this. So we have, because this is the 20s, we can see all this stuff happening right now.
And that's after World War I,
Yeah.
before World War.
Mid 20s to late 20s. Mid 20s to late 20s.
That is to where we're at now.
To where we're at now, right? Because we have the timeline from him being assassinated in 1929 to today, to see what everybody's moved, what everybody did for 100 years. We have a 100-year timeline to check and use everybody else. Take the Chinese, put them back 100 years, and then play it forward and see what they did. Take the Japanese, put them back 100 years, play their thing, see what they did. And we do that with everybody, and you'll see that everybody followed this program, except our people. To the point where even the Vatican followed this program, because they're 1913 just like him. And then you see where the Vatican is now. And if they started 1913 and he started 1913, then his stuff's supposed to be right in line with their stuff. At least. Forget all the other nations, whether they're corporate, de facto, whatever they are, right? They've done certain things as far as to create this thing called their culture.
They lock themselves in the game.
Yeah, right. And they have fought the Southerner for all these great misuses. So the Jim Crowism, the segregation, and all the other things that bring harm, our people have been fighting the colonists because of these issues. Right? They didn't just taking it. There were some of us who were fighting to get stuff right. But I have traveled in the South and have examined the conditions there. And it is the works of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives the life. It is our people. There's Noble Drew Ali saying it's his people. Because his people are the ones that keep practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation. This is why. This is the importance of Noble Drew Ali presenting what he did in the 1920s, that we're not Negro, black, colored, so that we can get out of that status and then be on the status of the nationalities, just like everybody else in the world. And then 1930 was the gun going off, and then we're going to see where everybody is in 100 years. And everybody went to their little side and they did whatever, where they went pillage other people, whether they whatever like that. They did whatever they did, and then see where everybody's at when the smoke clears.
Where the chips fall.
Yeah. And I am hereby calling on all true American citizens for moral support and finance to help me in my great mission, in my great missionary work, to bring my people out of darkness into marvelous light. His mission to bring the people out of darkness into the marvelous light. Oh, you want to check the metaphysical for darkness and light. Right? And then bringing us out of darkness is us being Negro, black, colored, or whatever like that, dark stuff, right? And then bringing us into the marvelous light, which is our nationality as Moors, which when you research Moors, you're not getting the same stuff you do when you research black people. When you say black Egyptians, and then you look up Moors, you're not gonna get the same stuff when you look those up. You know, you're gonna get something different. And look up the black thing, guaranteed you're gonna get some negative stuff first. Right?
All right, so darkness, the ignorance of the sense of man, the absence of truth. Light in consciousness. Darkness represents undeveloped capacity. It is caused by lack of love. He that saith he is in the light and hateth his brother is in the darkness. So it also says darkness over the land from the 6th to the 9th hour. Metaphysical. The failure to understand that settles upon the soul in time of great trial. And light, metaphysical, light is a symbol of intelligence. We cannot affirm too often. I am intelligence, I am the light of my world.
Right? So darkness, unknown, not knowing, ignorance, the things that, you know, are going to have people be in dishonor and disgrace. If the people don't know, especially after they've been told, if the people don't know, then it's probably somebody you need to be looking at that should have put you on game. Peace, bro.
Peace, bro. A question.
Yeah.
So you say when you look up black and more, you see meaning
Mm-hmm.
to the word. So you go back. It is a language thing, a different language. So whether it's something, a dictionary or
That was a metaphysical Bible dictionary.
it's a dictionary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah. So
so when we meaning on this,
well, that's one of them, and then we have a law dictionary here too.
which one is that?
This is Black's Law 4th edition. Yeah. And then you would have etymology dictionary, you know, and if you go into different subject matter, you have, you know, science dictionary, you know, biology dictionary and whatever. So when you look up black in just a regular dictionary, it's going to tell you that it's an adjective. And then if it's an adjective, then it can't be an identity. So when we say that we're black, we're canceling ourselves out from being connected to human, because adjective only applies to things. Adjective doesn't apply to people. So okay, let me read this. Let me
What do you have for the meaning of human?
say it again.
What do you have for the meaning of metaphysical word? For the
You
meaning
could check for human, and I'll check it up in the law dictionary and see what's up in it.
It's like painting a car. You want to paint the car, you paint it black, or you can paint it Italian. Right? One is not a color, so it'd be hard to figure out how to paint the car Italian. Because,
Yeah, yeah.
For this one,
Yeah, there's no human in the law dictionary. Nothing in there either. Yeah, yeah. So no humans not in the law dictionary, and then humans not in the metaphysical Bible dictionary. Say that again. But if we use the linguistics, human is actually a compound word, hu and man. HUE, and man. So the real human is people with hue. If we're gonna, but if you there's different there's different law dictionaries where some of them say human means monster, right? So it would depend on, you know, what context is it being used.
It's like black, you use it scientifically. Or,
Right. Like if we're talking about finance, black is good. You want to be in the black. You don't want to be in the red. Or, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So yeah, it depends on the context, right?
But I think even most scholars would agree that like black refers to like, you know, darkness or bad or void of light.
Yeah.
And then, you know, light was always supposed to be something of good, positive, pure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you feel like an application or black or white
Or other.
Yeah. So on that note, where I'm working at right now, when I had the interview there, they had the same thing, application form, fill out the application form, right? So I was just getting on this info, but a job that I had before, I did the more way, and they were like, here's your, you know, compensation or whatever like that, and we're closing down your department. We don't have no job for you. So going again now, like, well, damn, what am I gonna put on the thing? You know, whatever they have, we'll just see what's up. So they had black, white, Asian, whatever like that, and then the other. So I put the other in there, check the other, right? So go into the interview, and first thing, yo, they're looking at your form or whatever like that, you check other. Like, why do you check other? Like, well, because you don't have nationality there, and nothing there identifies me because I'm brown. Like, I'm not black, so I put other. Then there's two Europeans. They look at each other, and they're just like, okay, look.
Come on in, welcome in the house.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
You can pick and read and
Yeah.
write. And you want to go on the
Right.
TV.
Just from a simple thing like that, right? This is King Alfred Plan, Executive Order 11940, and this is from 1969. And this executive order was authorized October of 1969 to counteract the minority in their rise from under the depression and powers that be, the government. Blacks, Indians, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, and poor whites, the minority. Page 374. This memo is being submitted in lieu of a full report from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That report is now in preparation. There will be many cities where the minority will be able to put into the street a superior number of people with a desperate and dangerous will. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage and knows that political asylum will not be available to him in other countries. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage. So this is going back to the BIPOC, that we dealt with the black, why we don't need to use that. We dealt with the colored, why we don't need to use that. Right? So now they have this indigenous now. Now, this is 69. They're talking about the minorities, which is our people, but they're saying we're bound to the continent by heritage. So being bound to the continent by heritage and being Aboriginal and Indigenous, the rights that apply are all in the United Nations declarations. And the rights of indigenous people establish what indigenous people are supposed to be able to have as far as their rights. And then the international community agreed on that. And then not only that, then the Organization of American States has their own Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People that apply as well.
Now, does that vary by state, or does it?
That's for all of the Americas now.
Okay.
The American Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. So that's on this side, that the international community over here recognize that indigenous people have certain rights, but if the indigenous people are playing Negro, black, colored, then
They can't even identify themselves.
then those rights don't apply. Cancel this stuff out, you know, right? Because the whole point of the mission with Noble Drew Ali and what he did is that he's Cherokee. And nobody ever brings that up. That he's Cherokee. It's known that he didn't come from over there on some ship. Because everybody knows Cherokees are indigenous to over here.
Reservation.
Right? So if he's not from over there, he's from here. And then he's not even saying he's the tribal name from here. He's saying we're Moors.
He's saying from Missouri.
He's saying we're from Missouri. He's saying we were up and down the Mississippi. Because the Mississippi is the River Nile over here.
It's the earthquakes, right?
It's all the same thing. Right? That yes, you say descendants of Africa or whatever the case is. Yes, for all the Black Power whoever's and the African whatever, yes, we get it. But that only applies to Pangea. That doesn't apply when Atlantic Ocean's there. Only when we're thinking the whole world is one landmass are we African or Asian or whatever. Once it splits, we're going to continent or origin. That's why the Australians, they don't say they're from Africa. How come they don't say their ancestors are African? They say that they've been at Australia. They're saying they've been there for millions. They have no connection to continent of Africa whatsoever. They make no connection of themselves being from there at all. And then they're just on, and they're on the other side at the bottom and all that stuff. And then they're saying that if they can make that claim, then what the hell? If they can make claims, if Europeans could make claim that they're South African, and nobody debate them or whatever like that, nobody arguing with them, only the people there, you know what I mean? But anybody else, you say South African, they're showing you a picture of a European. Somebody who really knows them, I show you Zulu or something like that, but more likely they're gonna show you some European. Yeah, they're South African too. What do you mean? They were born there. You know, that's what El Haj was finding out. Yeah, you're born here. Now because you're born here, that doesn't mean anything. Like, what's your lineage? What's your descendancy? Oh, you're British? Okay, so you're more European then. So then this isn't your land.
Which earth family?
Yeah.
Tribe are you from?
Which earth tribe, which earth family, which earth nation are you from? And then they'll lay it out for you. If they're sincere and they're honest or whatever like that, they'll lay it. And more so, their sincere and their honesty only comes out when they see Moors. They allow Negro, black, colored people, zip the lip, don't talk too much, get as much finance as you can from them or whatever like that, and you know, see them tomorrow because they're going to be back to give you more finance.
And I feel like the everyday person wants it short and concise when they're talking about identity too, because usually they'll say, where are you from, what's your background? And then they'll try to associate it with their parents' background. And they'll try to pinpoint it like, oh, like if I say, oh yeah, my mom's from Westmoreland. Oh, "Oh, where's Westmoreland?" I'll say, "Oh, it's a place in Jamaica." They say, "Oh, so Jamaica, you're from Jamaica." Also, like Bob Marley, and then they'll try to associate this Jamaican identity, and I'm like, well, no, that's a part of the colony, you know,
Yeah.
because there's different languages. And I
Gotta
try to
break it down, bro.
and then it
Yeah,
gets
bring it up,
too
bro.
conflated because they don't know how to. That's all they know, right? They want to try to associate your identity with
Yeah.
your parents, and then
And that's more your heritage.
and that's the
Right, yeah,
heritage, yes.
Because even you can check this plug too.
Yeah, but if you look up population in Jamaica, it's not gonna show you, it's not gonna say Jamaicans percentage of it. No, it's gonna say 93% African,
Yeah,
5% European,
yeah.
2% Chinese, and then West Indian, stuff like that. It's not gonna say Jamaicans,
Jamaicans,
because there's no Jamaicans.
yeah.
Until
It's a
1962.
corporation.
It's not gonna say Latin American or Costa Rican or Cuban
Yeah.
or anything like that.
You know, in Africa, Africans is synonymous with Moorish.
Yeah.
Moorish. It's code for Moorish. And just like great is code for Moorish. Like Great Pyramid, Great Lakes, Great Seal, Great Britain. Like great is just a code for Moorish.
Yeah. So you say interchangeable Moorish, the difference between being a Moor and Moorish, Moorish.
Yeah.
So the kind of
Well, Well, they use it. It's interchangeable, but how you're talking about it, they use it out of context because Moorish isn't more hyphen ish. Moorish is one word. Jew is Jew hyphen ish. Irish, that's Ireland. Ireland's are Irish. There's to be Irelandians, right? But they were jacking some energy saying Irish. If they're identifying by the landmass, just like United States, supposed to be United Statesians, not Americans.
Like Scottish, English.
Yeah,
Irish.
yeah, right.
Back in power.
And it's all the same island.
It's all the same. Yeah, right. So Moorish is pertaining to the Moors. That's what Moorish means, pertaining to the Moors.
Architecture.
And it's not broken down more hyphen ish and then giving you the breakdown. It's just
All
Moorish.
one word.
That's why you can say Moorish Science Temple. And we say Moorish Empire because the Moorish Empire is pertaining to the Moors. There are no specific Moors relative to the Moorish Empire. The Moorish Empire is many different Moors. Right? The destruction of black civilization, Chancellor Williams. And these are sort of reference points that we go to in the black talkers, the historians or whatever like that. They know Chancellor Williams and all that. So it coming from him is different than it coming from a Moor, right?
What's the name of that book again, Brian?
The destruction of black civilization. In the Muslim destruction of the Songhai Empire, the main centers of learning with all of their precious libraries and original manuscripts were destroyed first. Then the age-old practice was adopted of seizing all men of learning and skilled craftsmen for enslavement and service to the conquerors. Foremost among those captured and carried off to the Maghreb was Ahmed Babu. There, he was treated as an honored guest and instructed to use his great learning in the service of his conquerors, the Moors. Now again, just who were the Moors? The answer is very easy. The original Moors, like the original Egyptians, were black Africans. As amalgamation became more and more widespread, only the Berbers, Arabs, and coloreds in the Moroccan territories were called Moors, while the darkest and black-skinned Africans were called blackamoors. Eventually, black was dropped from blackamoor. In North Africa and Morocco in particular, all Muslim Arabs, mixed breeds, and Berbers are readily regarded as Moors. The African blacks, having had even this name taken from them, must contend for recognition as Moors. So as amalgamation became more and more widespread, only the Berbers, Arabs, and coloreds in Moroccan territories were called Moors. Ain't nobody called colored other than America. They don't call people colored. They don't call people colored. So what coloreds in Moroccan territories they talking about if Morocco's over there?
Yeah, when everybody over there claims that they're pale Moroccans.
Who are these coloreds in Moroccan territories that are called Moors?
We're talking about here.
Yeah. Because here's a Moroccan territory.
Yeah.
And the only people that are called coloreds are people from over here. They don't call people from outside of America, North America specifically, coloreds.
At all.
Only the people from over here are the people of color. Eventually, black was dropped from blackamoor. Right? And again, going back to, who calls themselves black more than anybody else? People in North America. There's no black people anywhere else in the world other than here. There's a blackamoors. And they're talking about this thing, the African blacks and the black Africans. They're talking about Moors without saying Moors.
Yeah, that's why the Sultan, George Washington, went to the Sultan of Morocco, right, and thanked him for his dominions, right, where the United States is occupying at the moment. So it has to be in the Moroccan territories, dominions.
Nothing else
extending all the way to over here. Well, I say it's from here, extending all the way to there.
Yeah. This is the same book. That same month, May 1971, a Negro professor declared, "Black studies are ridiculous in any university. I am not black and will not join this new hypocrisy. I am a Negro, yet outside the United States, I am considered white." On a recent TV program, the head of a militia black movement went even further. In response to a question, he said, "Look at me. I am neither black, Negro, or African. I am a Moor. My roots are in Asia. I was born in Mississippi." But the moderator pressed, "You call your movement a black movement?" "Ah," the great Moorish leader replied, "that's strategy." Apparently satisfied that the black masses did not hear him, or if they did, would not understand. And that's 71. So 71, there's some TV program and some black militant, whoever is on there, talking about, yeah, we're Moors and all this. And he's using black as a catchphrase to try to get the people in because all they know is black. And then again, that's 71. And then the teacher before saying that, "Oh yeah, I'm not black." That's a new thing that they're trying. Right?
Say it loud.
Say it loud.
Yeah, but that's a joke. James
Brown, yeah, I know. It's crazy.
That was,
Not James Black.
Not James Black saying that.
you think mentioned that about reading from that book.
Yeah.
During the 71 or speech.
Or the time frame of that TV program where they had
We just read
yeah the time frame of the TV program. Oh no, this is speaking from yeah no not yeah the amalgamation was a separate time frame. Yeah, the yeah the 71 was relative to the TV program where the brother was on there talking about remorse. Yeah.
I just want to say it's great code for more because more in Gaelic means great. Is that why?
It's that, and then
Yeah, in Gaelic.
yeah,
Okay.
It says it all right there.
yeah,
Right? That's
it's
what
that, and then going back to what he was saying that the work that the Moors did was so that anything like that is probably relative to the Moors or something that the Moors did. You know what I mean? You know, they get somebody gets shell shocked by something, digging something up or whatever like that. That's whatever. Fascinating. It's probably because they found some more stuff or something.
Moorish architecture, massive.
You know what I mean?
Great.
Because they can only do it this way from seeing it. They don't actually know what it is, but the feeling is like that to them.
And when I hear that, I
Great
can,
equated to the Moors.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When I hear I can relate it and equate it to the more.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
especially in the historical,
Yeah.
in the historical context, if they say archaic, if they start talking about ancient, occult, and all that stuff, automatically your minds go into that time frame where the Moors are ruling everything. You know what I mean? And again, we're looking at 700s to probably 1700s.
Right before the dark age.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like 1700s. Because 1600s, 1700s, Europeans are complaining about being under slavery. So if they were slaves 1600s, then obviously we didn't fall out of power in 1492. That was just in that section
And got transferred.
but there was more strongholds everywhere.
And that's when the pendulum starts
Yeah.
swinging around to them.
That's the only way that it could match up with the story. Because the story is that they had us in slavery in 1600s. Well, they have us in slavery if they were a slave.
Well, even with the name slave.
Yeah, going back to them. Yeah. Right. Was there any questions?
I kind of have a question.
Yeah, bro.
Pardon me, this is off topic or whatever. What could you say something about the relationship between the Moorish and say like the Ottoman empires?
Mhm.
Because you mentioned that there were strongholds everywhere and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about when I think about the Ottoman Empire, and it seems that there's some relationship there. I mean, I don't know enough
Yeah.
to know that. So is there anything that you might say to enlighten?
Yeah.
me about
Well,
the
when
relationship
who is it that when they say Empire 2023, who comes to mind?
I guess right now the United States.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I mean, there's Rome
Yeah.
Empire we talked about.
Right. So the British Empire,
Well, British Empire.
right, would probably be the most common. Now the British Empire came out of the Ottoman Empire. When they took over, the power was transferred to them. That's why they say that they're empire, right? And the Ottoman Empire was the Moorish Empire before that. And then the Ottomans took it over after going back to the same thing with this timeline of 1492 that the Moors fell when that was just a stronghold.
Right.
That wasn't the Moors falling.
Or is it the
Yeah,
Canaanland?
that's what made me
Yeah.
think of the Ottomans
Yeah.
when you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you for that.
Right, so it's a transfer of power, and then if we go back before the Moors, then we have the ancient Egyptians ruling, and then them saying that we're gonna pass this knowledge on. So it's just a succession of, the only thing is that the last people to succeed weren't us, right? Because we fell out of grace by playing the Negro black and all that stuff.
There are
So
real
this is the
numbers.
translation of great in Gaelic.
Mur,
Yeah, this more.
this Mur.
Yeah, LUSMOR. LUS space MOR. This more.
I'll just say to you, what I found out the Turks were linked to Moors. There's a statue called the Four Moors, and it says it's Ottoman Turks. So if you Google the Four Moor statue, it's Turks that are enslaved by the, I think, Castilians, the people in.
Castilians would be Spain.
Yeah.
So then that would
Yeah.
So there's a Four Moor statue.
Yeah,
Yeah, it says they're Turks. It
Yeah.
says they're Turks. So that's why I connected.
So Turks, though, more specifically with your reference to nationality, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Right.
for Turkey,
Turkey.
right?
So then, if it was Castilians, presumably
I think
after.
it is, I'm not, but there's a statue called Four Moors. And I connected the Ottoman Turks to Moors. That's how I connected it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, when I found the statue.
Yeah.
But if it is the case that the statue references Castilians,
No, I don't know.
you're not sure.
I'm not sure, but I'm saying.
But we can research that. We can research.
Yeah.
But if it were the case, then Castilian would be a reference to the Spanish.
To those people like
came
that.
after the Moors in 1492.
Yeah.
So if it were the case, and I'm not holding these, but if it were the case, it would stand to reason that they picked up the beef with another set of Moors.
Yeah. Now, also too, look at this too. If Ferdinand and Isabella merged Castile and Aragon
Right.
to create Spain,
Right.
after 1492,
Right.
would they still be Castilians and Aragon, and could they still, or do they have to go forward with now being Spain?
Is-
Because once they merge them, there's no more of what they say that they were.
I think that was part of the agreement.
It's a new-
Is that homeboy, what's his name? It was Isabella and Ferdinand.
Ferdinand,
Sorry.
yeah.
I think part of the deal was that Ferdinand had
Yeah.
to give up his didn't he have to kind of.
Right, yeah,
She had more power than.
Right,
him.
she had- right.
That's what I
Right.
meant to say.
But in them merging it,
Right,
right? It's just like when they said GTA, right? Only certain people kept Scarborough alive, Etobicoke,
exactly.
whatever like that. Majority of people, there's GTA.
Or similar
So
to
yeah,
Right.
that each one becomes.
Yeah.
like United Kingdom of Scotland. one-
Right, yeah.
Ireland, one
Yeah,
Ireland
yeah.
still.
Right. So the merger happened, but there's still little sprinkles of the original people who, well, no, that's not how it goes.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not how it goes. Above Mexico is Morocco. Above Mexico is not Canada and the United States. That's 1800s. That just started yesterday.
Even if you can dig up and get your hands on the old maps.
Yeah.
And I've noticed from the internet over the last 20, 30 years, before I could access things, and I'm talking about old documents where I'm like, thank God for the internet.
Yeah.
Because my child would have never thought this existed because we don't have access to it. But over the last 5, 10 years, I've realized it's harder now to get older maps and older things. Right? It's
Yeah.
like-
Yeah. I mean, not only are they wiping stuff,
they're reconstructing.
they're setting up a new paradigm.
Yeah.
So it's only certain stuff you're gonna have access to.
Nothing physical.
Yeah, everything's digital because then it could be manipulated because they could mess with the digital stuff.
Even if you look at the indigenous people of Canada now, it's not going to be in copper colored skin people. They're going to show you like a pale faced person.
Well, because that's an indigenous of Canada, yeah, but not of America.
And Canada is the corporation.
Yeah, so they're gonna show somebody,
Yeah.
yeah, they're not mad for it. That's the Indo-European.
That's why it's just.
Mhm.
Chinese.
Hmm?
They're a mixture of African and Chinese.
Yeah, and some of them, the later ones have European in them too. But like, yeah, the original indigenous of, you know, the Canaanland part of it. A majority of them were, yeah, African mixed with Asian, you know, Bering Strait. They need to get their bearings straight. The Bering Strait, and you know, meeting people here when they came over here. You know, they came over here, and then there were people here. Go on, there's people here, and you know, again, it's our people.
Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because Columbus is a Morse, because he's Italian. Italians are Morse.
Yeah.
They got the Morse blood.
Because they make it like people are working on their own accord or something. You know, like he had an agenda or something like that. So, you know, if there's a Moor with him, then they could say the Moors are the ones that came over here and did whatever like that. But even just right on top here, they got a minaret on this. That's Moorish. Right in the middle of Pickering. It's a Moorish building. And then everybody just passes by, and it ain't no big deal because they'll know better. Big minaret. Minarets are the green half a globe on top of the library. Yeah. That's Moorish architecture.
Yeah. And unless you study art and architecture.
Art and architecture, yeah,
specifically,
yeah.
They're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
Even the teachers, they look at us to see which ones of us figure it out.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a game to them. And
Yeah.
as soon as we figure it out, they separate us from the rest of the
Yeah.
classmates. So that we don't go and tell everybody else, wake up, look at what's right in front of our face.
Copper.
Yeah.
Right?
You got learning issues with all this. Yeah.
Green. Copper. Brown.
Just a side question.
Yeah.
Was Persia a part of the Ottoman Empire?
We look when you look at even go pre that, just go to Zoroaster, and then you see as the afro with the fez on and all that. So it's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, like, you know, the timeline is so crazy, because of the whole calendar thing. You know what I mean? Like we always say we can gauge it by when the Europeans came on, as far as the timeline. So if we give them 6,000 years, then everything pre that is us, and then up to in the 6,000 years, their civilization is probably 1,000, if that, probably some hundreds.
Yeah.
They've been civilized. Prior to that, they were just beasts roaming, just like other beasts of the field.
Yeah, most of them pretty much got civilized in like 1490.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Before all that, they weren't civilized at all. Even that Roman history is not theirs.
yeah,
Not their history.
you know,
Muhammad died.
yeah.
The Holy Roman Empire, the first 5 popes was
Popes was Asiatic, yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we just went through another thing again.
Yeah.
This whole COVID.
Yeah,
Like we're having teaching people again how to just basic hygiene.
Yeah.
Right.
It messed up people.
dirty,
messed up people.
Dirty man's virus.
Yeah.
You know, wash your hands, wipe your ass, and
Yeah.
pretty much gonna get it.
You're gonna get it.
And I don't know if everyone remember, but right before COVID happened, if you look at the trends on social media, there was a lot of younger people going to public places and cross-contaminating food and all types of things for fun, right? And then I'm like, I wonder how long this is gonna last before somebody does something about it.
Yeah.
Right? And then a couple months later, I see this whole COVID
The
thing.
problem solution.
Yeah. It's true.
They're always gonna have something going on. When no Jolly was here, they had World War I and II going.
Creating a
You
crisis.
know, they're always gonna have something busy for people to be distracted.
Yeah.
Always.
That's the point.
Backward.
That's the point.
So, you're going to be World War III treating us, like, putting us on the color of the tree up.
You gotta volunteer for all that.
Eh?
You're gonna volunteer for that. They're gonna have people gonna line up to get on those trains. Fight to line up to get on.
We'll go back to this thing right here with regard to that. When you talk about concentration camps or whatever.
Line up, run to it.
This is how it's going down.
You get the black leaders first. Black leaders can't control the niggas, and the black leaders go first.
Right, this is how it's going down. We are confident that the minority could hold any city it took for only a few hours. The lack of weapons, facilities, logistics all put the minority at a final disadvantage. Since the Korean War, this department has shifted minority members of the armed forces to areas where combat is not likely to occur, with the aim of eliminating through combat as many combat-trained minority servicemen as possible. Today, the ratio of minority member combat deaths in Vietnam, where they are served as advisors, is twice as high as minority population ratio to the rest of America. Below is a timetable of King Alfred Plan as tentatively suggested by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who recommend that the operation be made over a period of 8 hours. Right, so whatever kicks off, the first people that they're dealing with is the minority. And then this is the timeline of how they're going to bring the minority into being contained. Go ahead,
Put them in 8 hours.
I just want, is World War III the King Alfred plan, or is that like, or are we already in that?
Well, when we go to war being confusion, it's been World War One. They know 2, 3, 4, or whatever like that.
It's just continuous.
It's just the continuous.
Because it hasn't stopped.
It's just the continuous. This World War One still going on. They're just putting on these numbers on it to make it be something for the historical narrative. Yeah. It's just those stuff going on under Joint Chiefs of Staff, Act of whatever, King Alfred Plan. And then they have all these different names that they're gonna, Homeland Security starting up and whatever.
That's their way of dealing with the nigger problem.
Yeah.
That's the way how they're gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
Just give everybody.
Really what she wants to do is under the spell of putting things on paper, which is that real.
That's the key word,
Brainwash.
stash, right? But we're all able in this land of source and material to break spells and cast them.
Yeah.
Right? It's about understanding yourself and whatever you perceive, because your perception ultimately determines your reality.
Yeah.
If I go to the gym every day for a year, you guys are gonna see me swell up and pick up things very easily. If I don't go to the gym for the year, I can barely tie my shoelace. And it's about how I perceive, how I want to view and see myself as I go through my life, which is me breathing, right? So we have to all realize, for sure, it's spells left, right, and center every day, every night, man. But we have to be each when we look in the mirror at ourselves and
Yeah.
know who we're dealing with.
That was 1969, so right now, I'm saying that they could do all that in 6 hours.
Yeah. Probably less. Yeah. Probably less. Yeah. Right. Definitely less than 8.
Right. Right.
Definitely less than 8.
People playing around.
Yeah.
People not playing.
Right. 1. Local police and minority leaders in action to head off the emergency. 2. Countdown to 8 hours begins at the moment the president determines the emergency to be national, coordinated, or of long duration. 8th hour. 3. County police join local police. 7th hour. 4. State police join county and local forces. 6th hour. 5. Federal marshals join state, county, and local forces. 5th hour. 6. National Guards federalized, held in readiness. 4th hour. 7. Regular armed forces alerted, take up positions. Minority troops divided and detained, along with all white sympathizers under guard. 3rd hour. All minority leaders, national and local, detained. 2nd hour. 9. President addresses minority on radio television, gives them 1 hour to end the emergency. 1st hour. 10. All units under regional commands into the emergency. 0 committee report. This is when you're talking about the concentration camps. Survey shows that during the next 6-year period, production created 9 million objects, or 1,500,000 each year. Production could not dispose of the containers, which proved a bottleneck. However, that was almost 20 years ago. We suggest that vaporization techniques be employed to overcome the production problems inherent in King Alfred, Secretary of Defense.
Vaporization.
Vaporization techniques.
I just speak on quick on the National Guard part. There's a lot of trained armed citizens,
Yeah,
mainly Europeans.
yeah,
So badge them up, weaponize them, and they're illegally gonna do what they want to do with dead people.
or remember also too, number 7, regular armed forces alerted, take up positions, minority troops divided and detained, along with all white sympathizers. So they might not even badge them up. They might kidnap them too.
That's some next level gang.
Yeah,
Warfare.
gang.
Yeah.
So they know who's sympathizing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why-
That's the thing, everybody think like all these government stuff is different, they're all the same.
It's all the same. It's all the same game.
They're all gonna come together and then one.
Yep. If they didn't already. And they're just playing like they're separate, they're separated. Right.
The mayor right here when they said National Aboriginal Indigenous Day, June 21st,
Mhm.
2017, it says whereas National Aboriginal Day celebrates the rich culture, heritage, and achievements of indigenous nations across, obviously, America. It is also a time to focus on truth and reconciliation in order to restore peace, harmony, balance, and to honor Canadian First people while working to restore our relationship. So just by us being Moors and stuff, we're putting harmony, peace, and restoring balance. So they're telling me, you're a nigger, you're dead, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot, but you know.
So what is-
That's just what it is.
We have to upload quality. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm learning to reverse psychology because that's how our people don't like it straightforward. You send it to them straight, they think you reverse psychology on them.
And then they have to reverse their own thing.
So I realized, that might hurt your feelings, but if I call you stupid, right? that's gonna force you to not be that. You know what I'm saying? Reverse psychology, because if I try to make you feel that you're intelligent and blah, 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 you ain't going nowhere. You ain't gonna think about that.
Yeah.
I have to humble myself and feel like I've been fooled, you know, which it really was, you know. In order for us to get to the next level, you know, we have to be humble, which is embarrassment is a form of being humble, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that the truth slaps you, you know. I yield before.
Any other questions? Good. Just some reference points with regard to the Moors and our influence. This is Recollecting History Beyond Borders by Hussein Seymour. By the late 7th century, Arab forces coming from the Middle East had reached the far west, Maghreb al-Aqsa of North Africa. In 711, these forces, joined by tribes of Berbers, crossed over into the Iberian Peninsula and reigned over the territory for almost 8 centuries. Islamic dominance came to an end, however, when Christian rulers started a xenophobic assault on Andalusian overlords to systematically suppress and erase every vestige of Moorish culture influence from their consciousness. That's part of when you're talking about the COVID, that it was supposed to be used for people to get themselves straight, because you're trapped in the house. You could get yourself caught up with the study because you've been BSing for the past so much ever years. And then they lapsed on that because you stay home, you get paid to stay home and study, and you're not doing that, you're doing some other stuff, then whatever happens, happens. Because you can't say that, you know, one thing with when we talk about suppress and erase every vestige of Moorish cultural influence from their consciousness, that's a real thing. As far as them keeping us in the state that we're in and not being able to rise to the level where we can get some things done as a people, right? Going back to what we're talking about with the spells, you know, majority of the issue is that the spell is being run on our own, by our own. It's not the European that's doing it. It's time to leave the European alone. Yeah. Doing it to themselves. Laughing.
Even if it's 10 million, 1 billion fiat, still crumbs compared to what Moors really have.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it down there, brother, you're just printing paper.
Yeah.
Printing paper.
Exactly.
And now they're going digital.
Right.
We have the soil, whatever in the side,
Mm-hmm.
produce well for us.
Yeah.
Continuous. Never end.
That's the only option. That's the only option. You know.
Trying to put us on the spin for us to attach to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is really cotton in America.
Yeah.
Right? The money does grow on trees.
Yeah.
If you know how to plant it.
Yeah. If you know how to plant, money grows on trees for sure. Yeah.
They make it worthless.
Right. Yeah.
So, brother, so how can this help us out of the system? Can this help us out of the system?
what we're looking at is I think we were talking about it before you came in, that we're looking to be able to sport in different realms because of the colonization that we're under, right? It's not going to be A and B and everything's done. It's going to be some sort of process. So what we're looking at is not that could this or could this not get us out the system, but get the information relative to learning how to get out the system
Or at least navigate.
or navigating through the system,
The system's here.
right? Because the system's not it's there.
The grid it's gonna be here, it's here.
It's been here.
It's either, can you see the maze, identify that it is a maze, and that you're in it? And one thing I learned young at Ontario, I think it was Ontario Place, they have an actual maze, or Center Island.
Yeah.
This is in 1988, I'll never forget it. My uncle was up from California and I wanted to impress him. My uncle with the muscles, I wanted to be like him, so I said, listen, I figured out the maze. He's like, let me show me how you figured it out. So I decided I'm just gonna climb it and hop out. So while I'm doing that, my hand gets caught. I still have the scar to this day. And if you cheat the maze, you pay in blood. If you cheat the system here, you're gonna pay in blood. So you have to understand that what the system is and how to navigate through it. And sometimes you have to have one foot in, right? And a lot of us don't want to put one foot in and play by the rules that have already been established before we took our first breath,
Yeah, okay.
right?
Yeah.
Of course, we're
We
reasoning.
have the system run right now. We can not ensure it, but we can't use it on the level we want to use it.
Yeah, no.
Because in us, in a way where we can't do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Like if we have to do something, to my comprehension, there's trust set up for us. My mother and my father, we not trust. Now you have some government that claims that them are the trustee and
Yeah.
I mean,
They put
how
their hands in
can
the
they be the trustee? Hold my mother and my father.
Yeah, because of how they did it.
So this is why this is only an answer.
Yeah, yeah.
Can be celebrated out of the matrix.
So yeah, so again, it's like it's dependent on the situation. Like for example, if they have a deed or something like that, and there was a lawyer involved, and you're getting some type of allotment given to yourself, you want to get it in a name that's not on a birth certificate, on a passport, on a whatever, so that when it comes over, it's going to you, right? Opposed to the name that's on all the documents, that once it goes to that name, then these people could say, oh, you owe 20,000 in debts from CRA. So we're about to take this right now because, you know, you're really in our jurisdiction because of the name.
I see where you're going.
Yeah.
So it's not, I'm coming back to what you said about you have to have a foot in. It's not that I'm trying to get away from doing stuff in the public. We have a change in name. That's another problem too.
Yeah.
If you change your name, you ever get a birth certificate, you back in the same thing again, with a different name.
No, but minus that part though, because what the perspective that Noble Drew Ali presented was that because it's a birthright, it's yours. So all you have to do is claim it. And then once you claim it, you're not going to get rid of the old name because the old name still has your interest in it from what you've been doing for the past time before you found out who you really are. But you're going to have to find a way to, you know, sort of play both sides until you can fully separate it. Right? That's why I was saying that it's a process that you're gonna do. So if we talk to him, his story about how he nationalized is gonna be different than mine. There's gonna be different than his. There's gonna be different than his. And then you're gonna realize that, oh, this is actually a personal. It's not a nation thing like how it's presented. It's a nation thing after you get the knowledge and you get to the place of knowing who we
We
are.
all know who we are. We are who we are, right? But we have to remember our parents, when they brought us here, did some paperwork that we weren't aware of, right? So as we grow, we know that there's the paperwork side of us versus the side of us that we know who we are every day, that we don't want to deal with the nonsense, right? But it's to use your straw man to understand what the nonsense is, give him a brain, let him do the work and keep you there, and then build yourself self, right? But it's necessary to, it's like a duality, it's like two sides of the same coin, right? I can't throw away my straw man. But I'm
It's too
gonna
much
use it.
invested interest.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it,
Right?
Yeah.
you know, and I made some terrible choices as a young adult and a teenager that luckily I was smart enough not to fall all the way into deep end, but I did have 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot not. And it took a while to really identify with myself. Every problem I've had is not, I can't blame my friends or my family, it's choices that I made. So when I got conscious enough to be like, okay, you know what? Every day I have to get up and I have to have two mentalities. What's the straw man doing today versus what's the more doing all the time? And sometimes the more is exhausted because he has to keep the straw man going to deal with everything else going on in where I'm at, right? And I travel to the States to deal with my family or the Caribbean, and it's, no matter where I go, some of us are suffering a lot, right? And none of us want to be suffering, right? But it's figuring out how as a collective do we keep growing and teaching people things, right? Because it's not easy. I mean,
Well, the same thing is every few years too, the demo system, they throw another layer of BS on top of the stuff they say, keep digging. So they had like from 1928 to 29, they started their crap. They had 1929 all the way till now to build on stuff. 3-4 years ago, right? Nobody thought about, oh, you can't get a job unless you're vaccinated and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So as time goes by, they add more and more compiling, the BS.
like layers, yeah.
Layers. So as time goes by, it's just more complex. More closing the gate.
But at
Closing the
least
gate.
some of us can see themselves
Yeah.
before they cast it,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
even while they're
casting. Yeah.
And then it's just a literally put up your force field. It's not having that stuff today. You know, tomorrow you're gonna wake up and there's still gonna be.
I'm not, I don't, for me, I'm not too concerned about it. There's enough of my life.
Yeah.
See it spend on the car. But for the next generation.
Yeah, yeah.
I mentioned earlier, the next wave of the coming is the digital stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the digital, how are you doing?
Yeah.
If we have our own
Appreciate
spot.
what you're doing, keep teaching.
So like you said,
By then, the youth them get older, and by then we have a plot of land someplace to build on, and we don't have to worry about digital stuff. They're gonna do what they're gonna do to their subjects. They have to do it already.
when it starts at home, like you said,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, we take it down and say, well, this is what I'm agreeing to, we have to come in a perspective.
Yeah, it's real to people. Go outside, they get fit there in Canada. Canada is 4 hours from here. That's the honest truth.
Canada, they say Canada, you look outside, they say,
But
nature, mama.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're almost forcing us to engage in their conduct.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because the only way almost out of what they're telling us is to buy into it almost.
Yeah.
And then take whatever share we can out of it so we can provide for our own.
Yeah.
Right?
that's not their fault. That's Dirty Moore's fault. Because we would have had all their stuff already, and I didn't care what these guys are doing.
What these are doing. They
Yeah.
do whatever they're doing. We're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Just like the Jews doing what they're doing. The
Exactly.
Mennonites doing whatever they're doing. You know why? They're not concerned with
What's
With
going on?
what's going on in society and all that. They're doing what they're doing as a body of people who said they're gonna
Because
put all their energy toward their own thing.
they're all eating their dumplings together.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
So I'm gonna take up soon, so just a quick question, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. Questions always open.
So you hear every week?
No, this was just something that we have We have a temple out in the West End at Kiel and Eglinton,
Oh,
and we're there every Sunday. Yeah, we're there every Sunday. This was just something Brother Malik wanted to do something for this area. You know what I mean? So majority, yeah. So majority of these Moors are in this area, so you could connect. Yeah, so you can connect with them. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So you could connect with them, and again, this is something where this is what it's about. You know what I mean? Us having something like this in every area so that Moors could continue to build and connect and build a foundation. You know, it starts with like we were saying, it starts at home.
That's the thing they say, Moors don't have nothing, but it's still temple is there.
Yeah.
We have everything.
Yeah.
It's there. You just need that's not supported.
Just not supporting it. You know, and the people, and again, we know that it's because of the brainwash and all that, why the people are in this, you know, quicksand type of thing. You know, they're not moving fluid. You know, they're always under pressure, always on the defensive. You know, emotion is always popping up, and they're always in some panic thing or whatever like that. They're never just chilling. You know, everybody else, you know what I mean? Yeah, stuff's going on, but they're chilling. They're not losing it.
Just tense all.
You know, tense, constant pressure with our people. It's all part of what was set up to keep them there. Yeah. You know, and that's where a lot of it. Yeah, that's the world. Yeah, but you know, but you know, it's like that because we're like that first. The world is a reflection of us because we're the foundation. So if we're messed up, then the world's gonna be messed up just because we are. You know, this is part of this thing with us getting this information and whatever like that. So like you're saying, we can pass it on to the younger generation, so they have it earlier than we got it, and then they could actually do something with it, have some time to do something with it. You know, opposed to us getting in and, you know, we keep talking about that. If I knew this when I was, oh man, if I knew this when I was, you know, right? Because it's not like once we get it and then everything's gonna work. We're still gonna have to go through some.
There's a lot of seeds. Yeah, it's crazy seeds to plant. It's not gonna grow overnight.
Yeah.
Germinate, water it, get it some sun. Yeah.
Roots out the catch.
Every year goes by, our people say it's 400 years. So
Every year,
every year. Constant. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Comment. Sure.
L and B, what does it mean? And if I want to put it on my kid's birth certificate, should I, or how does that work?
So the names of the titles, there's 5 titles: El, Bey, De, Al, and Ali. Right. The mostly used ones are El and Bey. Those ones are more common than the other ones. But you'll see Al when they're describing places, Alhambra and Al Jazeera, and right. You'll see Al in that, and De you would see in DEY. You would see in South America. You'll see DEY. You'll see L a little bit too in DEI. In South America, Latin speaking countries, you'll hear L. The having that on the instruments, it's not going to matter because the instrument's going to be in all caps anyways.
What is
So
the instrument?
the birth certificate, the social, the license, the whatever, they're always going to put those in all capital letters. So even if you put a free name, they're going to make it all capitals, which is going to make it a fiction, which is going to make it really not you.
Yeah,
So how do you prevent that?
Well, that's where it comes in with That's where it comes in with having our own ID.
So like
So-
don't get the.
So not having their ID, having our own.
Mm.
And if you're talking about something to identify the child or the heir, they would have a birth record, or they would have the parent, because the parent's the one who's going to verify it. It's not going to be some paper.
So you wouldn't give like a SIN number for the.
You have to think two ways.
Yeah.
You're thinking what you want to bring your child into the world and put under the government's control,
Which I don't want to. Right?
versus
Right.
bringing your child in the world and you, God, and your
Keeping it to yourself.
other person you made the child with deal with you, right?
Mhm.
The training has been go to them for whatever. Go to them. Go to the government. You need whatever, go to the government. You need whatever, go fill out a form or whatever. And then when you go there, they have the forms like this. So you're taking the form, fill it out, you sign it, and then you're giving it in. But nobody else signed it. And nobody gave it to you. They did like this, with you. And then you pick it up. And then they give it back to you. Right? But you don't get the original. You have a copy. And then they have the original.
And it's an application, so you pay for it.
Contract.
And then you just contracted with them. So what you're saying is to not be doing that. You want to go the way of not having to deal with them. But going the way of not having to deal with them has to do more with knowledge, not with you. You have a paper. If they ask me, what do I give them? That's not the perspective. The perspective is having the knowledge. So when you deal with them, you know where to go when you're dealing with them. Right? Going back to the thing we were saying about us always being reactionary to them. They do something and then we want to swing. You know, well they didn't throw anything. Why are you swinging? You know?
Is that why we reserve our rights when we use documents?
Right. So
Exactly.
so in the situation where you're at the hospital, you had the baby, and we're gonna call CAS if you don't get this birth certificate right now. You need to put it. Okay, you take the paper and then your signature is all rights reserved.
Like actually right.
Yeah, like actually write that.
And you
And then that's the only way that you're contracting. If they want to contract with you, that's the way that you would contract if you're dealing with them. And you're reserving your rights because you know that they're criminals, you know that they're making these fake documents and all that stuff. You know that they're not government, they're a corporation, and they're playing a game with you. So in order for you to be able to play the game and not have to give up your hands and your feet and all that stuff, when they say you got to pay something, you reserve your rights. So you can invoke them at any time when you're dealing with them.
And there's a paperwork, there's paper trail in the future when world court and international courts involved. You know, but I would say that, you know, if you're Aboriginal and Indigenous, you have the right to identify yourself, right? But because we have a organized government, I would try to go through a regency, a temple, and then depending on what the temple's saying, if they need you to answer questionnaires or come 25 classes or whatever it takes, right? Then I would get my nationality card through the temple just for uniformity, and I would exercise any new contracts or anything new from that day on. I would use my free nationality card identification. And anything old, I would keep it the same with the other thing. Even if stuff expires, I would go back, put X relations, all rights reserved, and then the signature of the old stuff until we are able to establish more on our side, because we don't want to be left out in the woods because Dirty Moors messed us up for the past 100 years. We don't have Moorish doctors, and then we have dark-skinned people, but they're under the Canadian whatever, and they're saying that you need to bring a health card or blah blah blah, this and that. So because a lot of our stuff got disrupted, and we're putting it back together. So I would learn how to live within contract while you're learning about the real history.
Well said.
You had a comment?
I was
Question?
just gonna say, basically you reserve your rights, be your proper person, right? And
Mhm.
basically said,
There's one place I don't reserve my rights. It's when I go into the bank, right? Because they're all crooks, right? So I'm like, in order for me to get my money, I can get moving and out of here as quickly as possible. Let me just write what they're used to from when I open my account with them. But every other thing that I do, I make sure I write that down. Right? And I get asked all types of questions. And I just tell them how you need when I'm reserving my rights.
That's it.
Yeah, if you get a new bank account, all rights reserved. Get a stamp.
Yeah.
All rights reserved. UCC 1-207 308.
Like you said to brother about going back and doing that whole document. With the banking system, every year I think they allow it to update.
You see,
You know, we send
Well, yeah,
sheet
there it is.
and do it then.
I'm gonna ask them that. I'm saying to
Yeah.
Because it says it right on the stuff that either stamp or signature. So I just stamp. So they ask me where's my signature, it says to stamp. So I'm stamping. You know what I'm saying?
Says it right on it. Yeah. Any other questions?
Would that nationality card for the kid, would that get them to school and hospitals and services that we need here?
So that's what we're saying with the reservation, the reserving your rights or learning to live in the contracts, because there's certain situations where they might not take a nationality card. They might say, no, we're not taking it. So if they're really gonna need whatever it is and they're not accepting the card and you need it right now, then you might want to have the thing there so that you could give it and shut them up and get whatever you're supposed to get.
For example, your health card is a privilege of being a Canadian citizen. So without being a Canadian citizen, you won't have that health card, and they're not going to give you the quote unquote
Healthcare unless you give your arm or your leg.
yeah.
Other than that, you show this little card, it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't have this back home, so here, then they gave us that, and now we have free healthcare. I have free healthcare.
Right. Yeah.
But no, it's not free. You have to pay taxes.
yeah.
You have to play their game.
Yeah.
That's the cost of it.
Yeah.
Right. So and then you have to watch your English language. When you say kids,
Yeah.
they're your chattel. They're not your offspring.
When you say kids is
English is
It's
the
like
language of
calling you a
those.
bee,
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Because it's different. Because if you say it's the same thing like we're saying black.
Mhm.
This is the same thing. Because if they keep calling children baby goats, right? You saw a baby goat before?
Did I ever have a baby goat?
Yeah, seen one?
As a kid, yeah.
Yeah, you see how they act, right?
Yeah.
What does a baby goat do?
Yeah, they're very, very energetic. They jump
Okay.
around.
Eat your socks, they go after.
Right? And then the children act like baby goats, and then nobody puts it together that, oh, because we call them kids, they're acting like animals.
Words, power, and sound.
And English is a language of double speak.
Yeah.
For example, orange is a fruit and it's also a color. However, a cat is a cat in English. So you have to learn the words and how they're used on you and how you use them on you. And I learned this the hard way in the 80s in Scarborough because I used to just speak patois every day. But by the time I reached grade 3, grade 4, and I'm sounding out words, I'm like, knife is spelled with an N, not a K. None. Not none. None. Okay, so then again, Andrew's put in the corner of the class away from the other students because I was a child that was educated, not a kid that was sent to school. Right? So because of the knowledge I had as a child, it made the teacher's job very difficult. Because I would look them in the face and said, I'm not stupid. You're playing tricks on my brain. And I get detention and in trouble for playing tricks on kids outside at recess to get their toys and candies because I want to play tricks. But once they started playing with my brain at that young in the educational system, I knew right away, this is going to be tricky, right? I want to get my education here because my father said he was only allowed to go to school for 4 days of a week. And my grandfather wasn't allowed to go to school at all. He had to work the farm, right? So my job here, growing up, school was my job. The same way my dad had to go to GM or the chocolate factory Cadbury's to work, I had to go to school, right? So I made sure to do my job, go to school. And by the time I reached 5th, 6th grade, I realized none of these teachers want to be here. Their job is to babysit us while our parents go work and build this country. And those of us that, if you get suspended in school, when you're in the real world and you get suspended, you're getting hung from a tree. When you go to detention, you're being detained. So in the real world now, when you're an adult and you go to detention, it's the Metro East, it's the detention center. You're locked up in an orange suit. Right? So it's important for all of us. And this is what I learned from young. Everyone I grew with that didn't learn how to read and write and use their pen, they decided to use a knife and a gun. And when they go to court, they're in an orange suit with shackles on. Everyone that used the pen that I know that got a slap on the wrist, they got to wear a nice suit to go to court. Right? They got their bail, all types of stuff. So every day we're out there, again, it's a game of sorcery. And if you don't know how to use your pen to put your spirit on the paper, or even the computer, how to manipulate the instruments that are here for your time being here, it's a tricky game.
That's right. It's mightier than the sword.
Straight up.
Language spells the walls of your perception.
And like coming from Caribbean parents, they'll tell you to go get education, they'll tell you to learn stuff, but as parents, you're looking at them, you're like, well, you can tell me what to learn, or you can at least put something there to direct me somewhere. Or
some type of direction.
I'm not going to learn.
I'm glad you stated that. My father, he said, look, I never took you to church, but I taught you the wisdom of the Bible. I'm gonna tell you one thing, you better learn how to go make money. That's what he told me I need to learn, is learn how to go make money.
I'll just put you right in the system.
Right?
Throw you to the wolves.
What is money?
Throw you to the wolves.
What were you trying to finish?
I don't think so. I think that was it. We got a few more minutes in the room. So we'll just get closed out and just have a little chill time. There's some flyers there. Make sure you grab yourself a flyer. There's also some food that we have, so we'll be able to chill for a bit. You had any closing remarks or anything?
I think it was a good session. You know, lots of information that I've learned, and I'm sure we all have learned. I'm glad to see new faces here.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out. It's good.
Thanks for setting it up.
Thanks for I haven't seen you guys in a while. I miss you guys.
You know it
I have to
goes.
plug back in. Be the strong guy.
Once you plug in, it's nuts.
Was there like
There's more stuff going on throughout the,
The
coming up.
only thing we have right now is the barbecue. That's July 22nd. We do annual barbecue every year. Yeah. Huh? Oh yeah, whatever we call it, cookout barbecue. Yeah, but it's vegan though. It's vegan. Everything's vegan, so you'll be all right. Only veggies.
Whereabouts is that?
We're still working on the location. And then every Sunday we're at the temple at 2530 Eglinton. We have the flyers over there with the address on it. Yeah, and we're there every Sunday for that. Yeah.
Besides the nearest spot,
They're right across from the patty shop. Yeah. Akil, yeah. Further than that. That's just up the street from the subway. Yeah. Up the street from the subway. Before the building. If you're going 2530. 2530, yeah. If you're going west, it's right after the building. Yeah. On Eglinton. On the north side of Finch. The north side of Eglinton. Yeah, there used to be that was at Dufferin. Yeah, that was at Dufferin. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Right beside the center.
You won't be able to miss
On the north side, northeast, side.
Right across from Tino's.
Yeah, it's on the north side of the street.
Northeast.
You have the card?
Yeah, the address is over there. Yeah, around the flag. Yeah. And that's at 12 o'clock we start.
Every Sunday.
Yeah, every Sunday. All right. We'll give thanks, Morris. We also had
I got one question.
we also were online today too, so we had people in the chat too. Yeah, go ahead, Morris.
One question. The more dirty more, there's dirty more, and clean more. We don't know who's,
Yeah.
we don't have time to find out. So later on, we know something,
Yeah.
How we know who is
One of the quickest ways. One of the quickest ways is prices. They start charging for things. If there's charges, phone call, the charge, consultation fee, or you got these papers and you could help you make a trust and then you could save your house because of whatever, 5,000, 300, 1,000, 1,500. As soon as they start talking about pay, so stuff should be going off. Spidey sensors should be going off. Right? That's one sign that that's one sign that you could use right now, that if you go online and you're researching this info, you'll see them popping up. Especially online.
Not to be mixed up with, somebody gave you some important info and you're like, yo, I'm compelled. What's your email thing so I can send you $40 or whatever? That's not different.
Yeah.
It's not different. Right?
Yeah. And then also too, anybody who's playing black games or whatever like that, they're calling people black and whatever. That's another sign, because those people, if they're saying that, they know that we're not that. They know that they're just using that to rope you in, because they know that our people are not right mentally, so they're taking advantage of their ignorance.
In their vulnerable state.
Yeah, they know that they're vulnerable, so they're gonna try to abuse them.
If you're conscious, you'll catch the vibe.
Yeah.
You'll know. You'll tune in right away. You still go find
Nobody.
Yeah.
I don't know more than that experience. I know it's been that experience.
Right.
There's a website, you go to RV Publications.
Yeah.
That's all those information they'll sell it,
They know,
right?
listen,
They should build
right.
instead of give you the information, build a nation.
Yeah.
They'll sell it.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah,
I've seen that, was it that they repealed the doctrine of discovery or something
Yeah,
like a couple
yeah.
days ago?
yeah. It
What are your
was
thoughts on that?
Just
Um,
days ago.
yeah, I know. Just a couple of days ago, like last week or so.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yo, it's just what Moors have been saying. You know what I mean? That
They wanna
this
put
is
it
what
back
these
into
people
play.
have been using to rule over us, and they themselves now are calling out their own stuff. You know, now are they going to do anything about it? You know, it's just like truth and reconciliation with the indigenous. You know what I mean? I mean, when they said they did 52 or 50 something, 90 something articles or whatever like that, and they only did 6 or something like that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, they're just trying to stay on the good side of humanity. Yeah.
Because I'm here like, okay, so you repealed it.
Yeah, and nothing. Yeah,
People didn't know it existed in the first place.
yes, exactly. That's
So
why.
you
That's
said you
why.
repealed it. Okay, what does that mean to the
Exactly.
average person that didn't
To
know
the
it
average
existed?
person. Yeah.
Right.
It's the Pope thing that's the
That's the real.
yeah, that's the real Christopher Columbus came over here.
Yeah.
Because I'm here like, did I really hear that?
Yeah.
Like when I heard that they repealed it, did I really hear that? And I'm thinking it's so big that it's not gonna have any impact. That's how
Yeah.
big.
So
it
break
is.
down the-
Everybody's washing their
repeal.
hands from US, Canada, they're you know, when they say stuff rolls downhill,
So what is
they're the
going on
bottom, they're the ones
that
that
these guys want to distance themselves like that from it and say, like if somebody's gonna find something out and then want to drag people, and these guys are gonna, well, look, we already repealed it.
So remember who it was? It was the Pope. So they're looking at things. They're looking at it from a spiritual. They're looking at it
So they're
as
trying to come clean.
get rid of karmic debt.
Bad karma and whatnot.
You know what I mean? Like, so they said it. They put it in the ethers, but are the actions gonna follow what they put in the ethers?
Exactly, right.
Right? And the actions that would follow is after they said doctrine of discovery, whatever like that, all the Europeans were just getting their bags and
Jumping over.
and going to the boats or going to the planes or whatever and going back to wherever they came from.
So obviously something is happening to even make the Pope.
Yeah.
It's like you're seeing the rats and eating shit.
Yeah.
So it's like it's happening. It's a matter, but we do we want them to all leave today?
No.
We're in trouble if they leave.
Yeah.
We need to sort stuff out.
Because like you said,
And we
where's
do
our
need the
doctors?
European.
Where's our lawyers? Where's our nurses?
Who's gonna keep all this stuff running?
Well, that's it. As
Yeah.
a community, we need to be on a mission to develop
Right, exactly.
skills, right? But that's what really hit me just when you were talking earlier and you said, you know, talking about being out, you don't have to be out in the forest or whatever. And it's like, it's the path of knowledge or what is being kind of handled, right? We're talking about being a minority and being under the government. It's like, okay, well, you know, if you have what I was told one time is the more you know, the less you need to carry.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
The more you know, the less you need to carry.
Yeah.
So it's really looking to me now like the path of knowledge or the path of, what would you call it? Worship?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, just things that.
Yeah, for sure. The wheels turning. Yeah.
But you see that the worship
Yeah.
thing is they burying these people more and more every year. It's not. They're burying every year as time goes by. It's gonna be hard for.
And this is what's kind of scary because when we look at the timelines that these people are playing on.
Yeah.
Yes, everything happened the last couple of years with COVID and whatnot, and we seem to be out of it. Although anybody that has half a brain knows that it ain't done yet.
That was a test run.
But I don't think that they're coming back with it this year or next year or even probably the year after. Because these are what people think on a super long timeline. They've seen how people behave and they'll say, okay, well,
Plan for it.
And it might be 5-10 years down the line before they come back again. But like you're saying, it's just compounding on what they did
They
before.
wrote I forgot what the book's name was. It was supposed to be in 10 years.
In 10 years, right? That's what these Agenda 20.
So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
4 years.
I've done freelance graphic jobs. directly with Ontario government.
Mm.
And one thing I've learned is when crises are created, it's opportunity for money to move around and for them to restructure
Yeah.
how the game is being played.
Yeah, I keep remembering about as you talk about, I keep remembering about when COVID, when they did the freaking stickers, the stickers on the ground, stickers on the freaking, and then all of a sudden there's no stickers anywhere, and
But
somebody
made a great
Bill.
sale with those fridges.
I think those were
Somebody
I think those were Ford.
it was Ford that was running it. Yeah,
You ran a print
Yo.
company or something.
Oh yeah, oh his fridges.
Yo. They were eating.
This
They were eating from some. They were eating from some stickers. Stickers.
Sorcery, right? Hey,
Crazy, crazy.
Next time we get a book, all right?
Yeah, no worries, bro.
yeah, everybody's watching somebody.
Yeah, so you were taking the picture?
Yeah, we'll do that after. We're just gonna close out and then close out and what do we have? 4:30, right? Really? 4:30. Yeah. So we got some time still. Yeah.
Great to see everyone today.
Give thanks, Morris. Yeah, we'll just close out and get back to our little building.
You know, the library.
You could just rise, yeah. The true berry.
I've been coming here since '92.
For real.
This was right across the street there.
Oh yeah, well, for real, huh? Okay. The reunion. Peace, Morris. We'll just close out. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah the Father of the universe,
Allah the Father of the universe,
Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation.
and my salvation.
By night
By night,
and by day,
by day,
to his holy prophet,
to his holy prophet,
Noble Drew Ali,
Islam.
Islam. Peace, Morris. Islam, Morris.